So many guys, not just on Grindr, are addicted to sex and find it difficult to connect on a deeper level. Today we're talking about gay hookup culture and how to navigate it when what you really want is a meaningful relationship and a deep connection. In this video, we'll explore how you can break free from this matrix, this frustrating hookup bubble, and how you can find deeper, more authentic connections. I found it so frustrating. You crave a deeper connection with someone, a relationship where you feel seen, loved, secure, but you're navigating a sea of apps and bars filled with people looking for quick one-night stands. So, first question, why is this hookup culture such a big thing in the gay society? It's easy to think that wanting hookups is just about physical gratification. We even call it to have fun. But behind the scenes, a few things are happening. First, it's our biological need for sex that drives us because we're wired to reproduce as much as we can. Now, clearly, two men having sex will have a hard time getting each other pregnant, but the urge itself is still ingrained in us. That's probably also why nature has made sex feel extremely pleasurable, to encourage us to engage in it more. But it goes deeper than that. There are other mechanisms at play, like the feeling of connectedness and bonding that happens during sex. Here's when things start to get messy. Many of us carry emotional scars from our upbringing that make it hard to be truly vulnerable and form deep emotional bonds. Even if you've come out already, it's so challenging to unlearn years of hiding your true self and just be authentic self with others, which is a must for real connection to happen. For a lot of guys, casual sex becomes the only way they get to feel a close connection with another guy, even if it's just for a few minutes. They might be emotionally stuck or afraid of intimacy, so hookups are a safer way to feel close to someone without risking real emotional vulnerability. And the problem here is it cuts off as soon as the hookup ends, and they're left feeling even lonelier and emptier than before. It becomes a cycle similar to other addictions where the person keeps chasing that high, that temporary relief from emotional pain, but afterwards they're left feeling disconnected, dissatisfied, and empty all over again. So faced with all that, ask yourself, are you denying yourself a relationship because you think it's impossible to find or because you're afraid of getting hurt? And I get it. I was always scared of getting hurt too. Or maybe you're so jaded by disappointment that you've stopped believing it's possible. Too many times I've heard things like, I've given up on dating, or I'll never find a relationship. But deep down, they still long for that connection. They're just exhausted from disappointment and afraid of facing more rejection. So giving up on dating and believing there's nothing beyond hookup culture, it's a shield against hurt and frustration. But here's the thing. When you give up on love, you're denying yourself a key part of your experience of living. You're denying yourself the chance to connect, to experience romance, to feel love. And yes, it takes courage, and yes, there is a risk of getting hurt. But there's also where joy and deep connection and security are waiting for you. Now, the roadmap to that goes through 3 steps, and let's break it down. The first step is getting clear on what you really want, because if you have clarity, it makes it easier for you to focus on what really matters to you. A lot of guys miss that part because self-reflection doesn't come naturally to many people. And what happens is they kind of know what they want, but not clearly enough. So they end up getting distracted and also sending mixed signals, which turns off guys who are serious about finding a long-term relationship. So to get that clarity, you'd want to sit with yourself and think about what you really want. Are you looking for something casual, semi-serious, or you want a committed partner to share your life with, or something else? Be honest with yourself. To make sure you get full clarity, what I found super helpful is to ask yourself why questions. Why do you want a life partner? Why is this important to you? Use lots of why questions to dig into that. And once you understand your why and you're clear about your intentions, it's all about aligning your actions with your intentions. This means setting boundaries that help you avoid situations that don't support your goals. So if your goal is a deeper connection, pay zero attention to any profile that seems hookup territory. And maybe you skip meeting that guy who wanted to swap sexy photos before your first date. These day-to-day decisions make a big difference in keeping you on the path to finding what you truly want. Now, let's say you realize you do want a relationship, but still enjoy casual sex sometimes, or you just want to let off some steam. That's totally fine. But there are a couple of things to keep in mind. First thing is consider how often it's happening. Make sure casual sex isn't taking over your focus on finding something more serious. A second thing is to keep in mind to be really selective about who you hook up with. And I'm not talking about physical appearance here. I know this might sound a bit unconventional because, after all, hookup culture is usually all about looks, but that's why we're here, to step outside the norm. So don't settle for a guy who has nothing going for him besides physical attraction. Even if it's a hookup, choose someone you can at least like as a person. It doesn't mean you need to have romantic feelings before having sex with him, but could you see yourself spending time with him outside of sex? Does he treat you with respect, or is he just trying to get in and out as fast as possible? If the chat feels purely transactional, that's a red flag, because over time, letting people treat you like that chips away at your self-worth. You deserve better, and by setting a standard, you're protecting your emotional health. Plus, it increases your chances of meeting someone who, like you, is open to a meaningful connection. I personally know at least two amazing couples who started as a hookup. They weren't expecting anything more, but they clicked, and now they're together. How amazing is that? Now, let's be real. It doesn't happen every time, but by raising your standards, you're giving yourself a better chance at something deeper and also lowering the risk of that empty feeling afterwards. Now, let's talk about the second step, which is the most critical, because having a vision for what you want is only the start. You need to take action to turn that vision into reality. The key here is to put yourself in environments where you're more likely to meet guys who share your values and relationship goals. This step is all about being intentional with your time and energy. If you want to connect with people who are looking for something meaningful, you need to be in places where those people are hanging out. So one thing you could do is join interest groups for LGBTQ, and it could be groups that are centered around hobbies, sports, or social causes. These types of groups create natural opportunities to meet others who are already open to connection and shared experiences. It's a lot easier to develop something meaningful when you're surrounded by people who enjoy the same activities or causes as you. If you're living in a bigger city, a Google search will bring up tons of these groups for every possible type of interest. If you're in a small place, search for online groups. Don't worry about the fact that it's not in person. Just focus on expanding your circle, and you never know who's around the corner or what it could lead to. Another great option is to get involved in volunteer work. Whether it's LGBTQ plus related or not, there's a lot of fulfillment you'll experience when helping others and doing meaningful community work. And as a bonus, I found the type of people who tend to volunteer are the ones that are naturally drawn to more meaningful connections. Again, aligning with your goal of being in places where there's more chance for like-minded guys to hang out. And then there's the online dating world. It's a bit tricky here because apps like Grindr and Scruff are more focused on hookups, but you can still find people there who are genuinely looking for something deeper. So either you dig there a bit more or just focus on platforms that are more geared towards relationship-oriented connections. Hinge or Tinder are good options. They allow you to express who you are beyond just your looks. And they do that with prompts and features that showcase your personality and values. So the most important thing here is to set up your profile in a way that makes it 100% clear what you are looking for in a very authentic way. And don't worry about scaring anyone off. You'll only attract those who are on the same page. Think of it as filtering out the noise to find the quality connections that truly matter. Talk about your values, your interests, how dating with you looks like. And when choosing photos, don't just think about looking attractive. Instead, focus on photos that reflect your authentic self and align with the values that you mention in your profile. The goal here, both with the app and with in-person activities, is to be genuine, to be out there in the world, and to engage in places where meaningful connections can happen. Ask yourself, how are you actively creating space in your life for the kind of connection you want? When you make that space, that's when amazing things can happen. And now on to step number 3. To make all this work, there's also a mindset shift that comes into play. There's a saying, if you want to attract a good partner, you need to be one too. And this is about taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally. So you're bringing your best self to the table. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. What it does mean is thinking about the kind of vibe you're putting into the world. Are you emotionally ready for a relationship? Are you taking care of your health, your well-being, your passions? How much are you engaging in self-care on a daily basis? Self-care isn't just about bubble baths or candles, though it could be if that's your thing. Self-care is about doing things to take care of yourself emotionally and physically. It could be anything from setting aside a few minutes to meditate, or getting some exercise, or enjoying a hobby or journaling to clear your head. Try different things until you find what helps you feel centered, and make it a priority to do that on a daily basis. And when you're taking care of yourself, you'll be showing up as the best version of you, and you also feel more balanced, which is so important when you're navigating the ups and downs of dating. Remember, everything in your life is connected, inside and outside of dating, and it all impacts the quality of the people you attract. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button so YouTube shows it to more people who need to watch it. And let me know in the comments below what other topics you'd like to hear about. And if you want to get exclusive content on gay dating and relationships, sign up for free to my newsletter. You'll find the link in the video description below.